Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tales of Recovery, revolutionary stories about getting your life back, getting your birthright to own your own truth and your recovery, right? Whatever it is that was stolen or taken away or programmed into you that doesn't work anymore. So today I had a really beautiful event with this great teacher that I met, Kimberly James, and it's this Kundalini awakening practice, which is called CAP. And in the group where we were in, we had these certain, it was meditation, certain experiences, but the main thing that came out of this was how much beauty there really lives inside of us, and how skewed our view of beauty has been. And one of the reasons why I came upon this realization is one of the parts in the retreat was to take some oil and massage a part of your body, right? Whatever you wanted to massage. So I was massaging my hands, 5 minutes one hand, then 5 minutes the next hand. And as I sat there looking at my hands, I realized, well, they kind of look like my mom's hands a little bit, my mother's hands. And when she was, and I felt this sense of grief because I remember, touching my mom's hands and giving her a massage on her feet, on her hands, on her arms the last year, when she was really sick and getting ready to transcend. And her body was old and her hands were, she was so upset about this. She was so upset about this. And I thought, what are these standards that kill us from really enjoying our body? Because after I went to the second hand and after I was getting into it and just feeling my arm and feeling like, wow, my arms have been so strong. I've held myself for so long. I've held so many people and had to work really hard with these arms, to carry babies, to set boundaries, to cook meals, to take myself places, to hold myself up in yoga poses, just so much that these arms of mine, these hands have given, have felt, and all the healing that comes out of them when I, laying hands on somebody. And I felt this sensation of, it's a lot of what I teach is the felt sense of your skin, of your bones, of the inside of your muscles. And it was so sensual and it was so beautiful. And I thought, I got to talk in the podcast about this because some of the standards that we have about beauty are really, really kind of like a suicidal, suffocating effect because, I looked up some of the beauty standards in America, right? And these are the beauty standards I think that my mom measured herself against and therefore taught me to do it. And, my daughter and whatever, everybody else who's around anywhere near a Vogue magazine, and we're now the internet. But America, it says, America has a culturally accepted norm of what makes someone beautiful, a standard that is hard to meet. Being light-skinned, blonde and blue-eyed is the benchmark of beauty, of what is most desirable. These theories also help explain why certain physical attributes are more valuable in American society. Now, that's the American standard. And then I thought, well, what about the Mexican standard? And I think the Mexican standard, at least from where I was growing up, was pretty much the same. So if you were a Mexican woman and you weren't white and had blue or green eyes, pretty much you're screwed. And you're always wanting to be the blonder with lighter eyes. So you get the fake, those pupilentes, the contact lenses to make your eyes a different color. Or you go do your hair and your parents are telling you, your mom, your grandma, not to get too tan because then you're going to look dark. And there's a lot of new standards, I think, of beauty now. There's a lot of different, at least there's a huge movement, right, to accept or to include different bodies and more voluptuous, and you have the Kardashian people and J-Lo and all these Latin American women with bigger bodies. And so now, and for a time it was like it's cool to be thick, and all these different I suppose even those are standards. It's an international obsession, our preoccupation with beauty. And there's so many different ways. Like, I also looked up, for example, like I said, the American, like the Western. You look through any magazine and it's still like all the women are super long, thin, big boobs, and they have these features. The French women, these, all natural, different, in different cultures, there's different standards, of course. It's always like beautiful porcelain skin, for Korean or Japanese women. And I looked some of these up. I mean, there's different articles on how even Indians' perception of beauty shifts as the East looks to West, right? So now they want to be whiter. And I have Indian women that'll have the same stories that I had as a Mexican growing up. Like, you really wanted to be as white, like even if your skin was dark, but not too dark, right? Because that was the standard. And all of these beauty, like levels, right? There were like levels. So you're in this level, or you're in this level, you're in that level. And then the whole lifetime of a woman is trying to get to the next level. And if you're not getting to the next level, then you begin to grow in your self-loathing. And I also, like, I kept looking, there was a New Zealand woman, right? The New Zealand woman, well, I mean, one article, I don't know about all New Zealand women, but for the Maori people of New Zealand, nothing says beauty like a tattoo on your face. So they have these tattoos on your face, these shape markings called tamoko. And that's supposed to be like amazing, right? The most beautiful women are thought to be those with their chins and lips fully tattooed. I could have told that to my mom when she found my first tattoo and freaked out. And, there's Brazil, the South American standard of beauty, which is like bombshells, free spirit and like sensuality, or Colombian-born Sofia Vergara, who says, confident people have a way of carrying themselves that makes others more attracted to them. So it's in how you walk, right? In how you feel, in how you move. And anyway, there's so many different ones. But of course, I'm talking about really the ones that I can relate to, which are more in Latin America, Mexico, and the United States. And then, as I was talking about this, one of the guys at the retreat sent me a video where Krishnamurti talks about beauty. He's like, oh, you mentioned the beauty thing. Listen to this, to just these words from this guy who's saying that he was questioning what beauty was, right? And he was more questioning as in an art form. Like when you go to a museum and you have to see the Picasso or whatever the Michelangelo painted, and you're like, wow, that's so beautiful. You're taught that this is beautiful. You go to these museums or you do the tours and you get the whole download about who did that painting and who did that painting. And wow, this is beautiful. And I'm really enjoying this video because he was questioning that, saying, maybe that's the beauty that the artist feels. Or when you walk into a cathedral and you're supposed to feel, wow, this is beautiful. And I honestly, all the museums and cathedrals I ever went to, I just thought they were I just never liked them. But of course I couldn't say anything. How are you going to say you don't like what's in the Louvre or in the Museum of Modern Art? And some modern art is cool. I like that. But it's not my jam to go in a museum and walk for 5 hours and look at art. Maybe somebody else thinks that's great. I would much rather be outside in the mountains looking at a natural beauty because it gives me a different sensation. And I think beauty is really a felt sense. But Krishnamurti was talking about how is it something that's created by people, this beauty thing, these beauty standards. Of course, people are creating these things to make money. I don't really think, it's all about, I'm assuming in the beginning you have to be really beautiful so you're father could marry you off and get some money off of you with this whole patriarchy thing about trading off women. And then, time goes by and all this, now it becomes a marketing thing and advertising. How do you look? If you look well put, put together, beautiful, then you're worth more. And then that transfers into marketing and advertising. And how am I going to sell this product to you if I put my lipstick on somebody who, maybe isn't meeting the standards that we've been sold or fed for so many, many, many years? And it's so dreadfully artificial, completely created by someone. And then it sets the standards. And I think it's, how do we express the beauty? Because is it something that cannot possibly be expressed, or can it be expressed, And so these standards of color and size and the flow, the different types of hair and how you're going to look and how you're going to feel are so, I say heavy. They're so heavy because, and I say this, including as I'm beginning to age, noticing it a little bit more every day, how I look in the mirror every morning and I see myself, and I've learned, it really has taken me about 8 years now to learn to look in the mirror, look into my eyes and just say, you are beautiful. Like the weight of your wisdom and what you've carried and how you hold yourself and all you've been through. And I can literally say and look at myself and say, yeah, I'm beautiful. But I, of course, not always. Sometimes it doesn't work. But it's taken me a long time to be able to say this. This inside job of because who sees you, right? Who feels you? As you're growing up, the person that sees you, your mom, your grandma, your aunt, the people at school, and they are, seeing you through this lens of artificial beauty standard. And so if you don't measure it, then you don't feel seen. You don't feel 100%. You don't feel like you're catching up. You don't have the right jeans. You don't have the right body. You're not wearing the right shoes or the right little purse, or the lips and the hair is a mess and it's straight or it's curly, blah, blah, blah. So you get lost in this confusion of having to be something else in order to feel this beauty that is your innate birthright. And, I've seen some people that are not meeting the beauty standards, but they really feel like they're beautiful. And it's interesting. It's kind of contagious. Wow, they see themselves as this beauty. And here I am back here in this judgment that I was taught that that's not the standard. And so there are so many ways of looking at this. But the most important one, I think, for healing, for recovering, is really allowing this felt sense, of this innate felt sense of what really beauty is for me, right? For you. And one of the things that Krishnamurti was talking about also was how we must understand suffering in order to understand beauty. Without suffering, we can't have beauty. Not that you have to suffer, but it's like a sensation, right? Because we tend to escape from suffering. Everyone wants to escape from suffering. Everyone wants to escape from not meeting these beauty standards that are ridiculous. And as I was saying about getting older and entering into this crone road, one of my younger friends, a couple of weeks ago, we had a concert and she didn't even know what the crone was. It's well, it's maiden, mother, crone. So you're super young, you're a maiden, then you are you have kids or you're childbearing age, and then after that you're a crone. A wise woman, an older woman, and they're so revered, in the earth-based, earth-honoring traditions, and right now we're trying, I think, to reclaim this, right? Reclaim back the beauty of noticing that getting old is a privilege and that being a crone is to be honored, and hopefully you're a wise one. But allowing even that journey that's coming up for many of us to come in and to be able to feel the sense of this deep suffering, this deep struggle that life has had that is so connected to beauty. All of us have struggled. All of us have been through hell and back. And here we are, resilient in the human capacity to expand in this. Hopefully we're healing and you doing lots of different modalities to not just endure, but the beauty is such an important standard for us that it's really important to realize, oh, okay, who's benefiting from my self-loathing here? Like, if you really are sensing that, you're just not meeting the standards, or you just didn't lose that weight you wanted to lose, or you're like, you're getting some wrinkles here and there, or your hair's not curly, or your hair's not straight. Like, remember who set these beauty standards and who benefits from our self-loathing. Of course, beauty product people are going to benefit from this, and the Cosmopolitan magazine, and the patriarchy, and it's if we begin to see it that way, we can begin to sort of embrace that. It's not as bad that you want to look beautiful and that you like to do your hair, and I like to dress up and get my nails done and do, but out of a sense of self-care and self-love for me, because I want to embrace my own style, and I like to look a certain way and to do things a certain way, but not because if I don't do this I can't feel the inner beauty, the felt sense. So the sensation of beauty is an inside job. The sensation of beauty, as you give yourself a massage in the morning as you're showering or whenever, some sesame oil touching your hands, touching your arms, touching your chest, your body, your parts everywhere, and just your face. I mean, when was the last time you really touched yourself to say, wow, this body that I have, this sensation is just incredible. It's incredible. And that's, I guess it's a different not class of beauty, like as in selection, but like a different learning of what beauty is, right? The depth of your color, of your sensation of your skin and your body, of how you're made. Reclaiming this felt sense of beauty, this feeling of embodiment, and just going in and realizing, okay, I can shed all this crazy bullshit that was taught to me because that was my survival mode, because that's how I was seen, and I'm trying to look at the magazines. Okay, all of that, once you come to the understanding that all of that stuff is artificially created, and by artificial, it's like, yeah, it was art. Somebody created it. But if you're not looking like A, B, or C on this picture, that doesn't mean that you're not this amazing, beautiful thing, that you can't feel this sense of beauty. You don't have to fit in a size 4 bathing suit for you to own your beauty. Like, these are your curves, this is your body, this is your skin. And sometimes wanting to fit into that size 4 and that loathing is what really takes us in the complete opposite direction of self-hurt and eating foods that aren't good for us and drinking too much and, beating ourselves up, drinking 50,000 cups of coffee a day and just thinking that, I'm never going to be, and just this self-sabotage, this self-loathing. So it's important to watch, to keep an eye out on, okay, who am I listening to? Like, where is this coming from? Where is this message coming from? And how hurtful is it? And it was so clear in my face for me with my mom. And I tell you, my grandmother had 2 or 3 facelifts. Some of my aunts, so many of my mom's friends. My mom never had surgery. She just didn't want to. But boy, was she hard on herself when she looked in the mirror towards the last days of her life, you know. Oh, the wrinkles, oh, God damn it, oh, this, that. Like, it was a constant, like, Mom, are you kidding me? I mean, you know how many people never make it to be old? Like, and it's just a mindset. It wasn't like, oh, okay, if I heal and I get 2 facelifts, then I'm going to be happy. No, it was always going to be something else. It was always going to be, I need a straighter nose or bigger eyes or a different type of hair. The malcontent because of these misconstrued beauty standards are killing us. And it's not worth it. It's not fucking worth it, man. It's something we really need to look at. I look at it. I've been looking at it on and off. And, I'm talking about it here because, hell yeah, I struggle with it. There's been times when I'm like, well, whatever. I'm just going to let it go and just not work out anymore because now I'm just going to embrace my crone and just go for walks. And 2-3 months go by and I'm like, oh, shit, fuck, I better get to the gym again. And the yoga, and I go and I get injured. And I have to remember, okay, calm the fuck down. Calm down. Like, it's okay if I'm not going to be looking like Madonna anymore. But it's so stuck in my head that these classes that I take, these different modalities that I learn about, really getting into the felt sense of the body and noticing that it's just right here, right now. These hands that I can look at, these legs that I have, these feet that I walk on, these wrinkles that are on my face, and the life inside of my eyes, that's my beauty. That's the depth of me reclaiming the felt sense of the beauty. When I can stand in dignity and own whatever is there in my body, the wisdom of these curves, the wisdom of these wrinkles, the life experience that I've had, and that I really, we need to, I'll speak for me, I need to forgive myself for all of those years of, being so hard, trying so much to look in this perfect way, beating my body up with diets and CrossFit and marathons, and just thinking that if I didn't do that, and it's part of the journey. But it's important, the acceptance, the self-love, and really just knowing, like, where is this shit coming from? Because as soon as you start acknowledging that this isn't something that your mom wanted you to be, that's something that her grandmother wanted her to be, and her great-grandmother wanted her to be, and all this pressure handed down because, I don't know, otherwise they wouldn't get sold to the fucking husband, and then you wouldn't be able to have a family. Well, it's not like that anymore. We can change things around now. Nobody needs to sell you off. We don't need to be selling our daughters off. It isn't some fucking approval show or an exchange. It's 2021 and things are different. And if we know where these messages are coming from, we can notice them, acknowledge them, and then investigate where they came from and nurture our own bodies and our own mind and our own hearts. That's just ridiculous. And we can surrender into our body, into the dignity of knowing that the sensation of beauty is just that, a sensation. When you see a beautiful flower opening up or an eagle, a hawk flying in front of you, it's like, oh, wow, my gosh, did you see that? But it's really the sensation that it causes. So when you see something beautiful, that felt sense, can you close your eyes and feel that same felt sense for your own body? For your own skin, for your own eyes when you look in the mirror in the morning. Louise Hay has this exercise of, looking in the mirror in the morning naked, just telling yourself, I love you, you're beautiful. Look at you. And it's weird at first, right? You're like, what? Wait a minute. Nobody ever taught me to do this. But you are. You are this beauty. You can stand there in the mirror. You can tell yourself that until you begin to believe it. And it's a different practice. Different practice than believing what Cosmopolitan magazine says about how skinny you need to be or how many surgeries or lip fillers you have to have. And it's interesting because a lot of girls are getting these fillers and these Botox when they're like not even 20. What's happening? I mean, little Botox assist when you're pushing 40, maybe, but when you're that young, it's just everyone wants to change themselves to meet this standard. So allowing, I think, for going inwards and really sensing that sensation, that self-beauty, that we're so capable of being in awe of our own experience, of our own heart, our wisdom, our our organic machine, this piece of meat that we sit in, that we live through, that records so many experiences of sorrow and amazingness and pain and pleasure and joy and sadness. And that really, if we can begin to acknowledge that all of these things come through the sensations of this organic machine, that's really where we can find the sense of the beauty and then grow our dignity from that standpoint instead of these stupid standards that are worthless. They're worthless and they're killing so many of us. So owning my grown coming years, owning the responsibility of being in here, even speaking to you guys and telling these words to my daughter and whoever else, other women hear it. I wish I'd been able to tell this to my mom sooner, or that she had taken the different type of pill instead of the pill believing that only when you're 20 and skinny and be winning a beauty pageant are you worth anything. She held so much pressure. She carried so much weight for so many years of looking a certain way and straight up and, tuck your stomach in and, never come out without makeup on. And there was so exhausting. One of the cool things about this year is you can be in sweatpants all day and still feel beautiful. I'm in my yoga pants and I feel like, yeah, man, this is great. And by no means do I want to say that I don't like to wear lipstick and do my nails, and I love my big hoop earrings and my sensation of beauty, but I've grown into owning it in my body, inside of me, not for you to approve it or anybody else's standards. So that's what's being recovered today in Tales of Recovery. May we surrender into our bodies and realize the inside job of the sensation, this gift that we get in this life of the sensation of beauty. Ashe. Thank you for listening to Tales of Recovery. We'll see you next time. Please share, subscribe, and leave a review if you feel called to. Okay, take it easy. Bye.